Hi, I'm Nick, and I'm here to present today the new features of ThinManager version 14. There are 4 different categories that we're going to cover today, starting with the new ThinManager Web UI. The ThinManager Admin Console, which is the user interface that we use to edit, configure, and monitor our ThinManager Thin clients, is something that's based in Windows. This new Web UI is based in a web page, and it can be used in Firefox, Chrome, or Safari. Let's go to my demo here. By the way, happy birthday, ThinManager. Thank you for supporting us. It's been a great 25 years. We're going to go with ThinManager here. And this is the ThinManager Admin Console. This is the Windows-based app. I'm going to go to my terminal where I've delivered the web UI as the display client. And you can see this is the new web interface. It basically is kind of in a read-only state. So you kind of see the configuration and the event log data from it. And there's some graphs too to see statistics. But that's about it, except for an Easter egg I'm going to show you in a second. But see these graphs? So it has graphs and kind of some of the historical data of your terminals and different servers. You can browse through different configuration, the event log. Great thing is that it resizes to your device. So if I maximize, it will resize again. And then the biggest thing is that I can shadow a terminal from the web page. So let me go to a terminal that I'm not on. I'll go to this TCV01. We'll shadow that. So we get rid of the shadow inception. And then you can see that I can shadow it just fine. And up here are the Easter eggs. I have different commands I can issue to the terminal right from the web page. So power on, power off, restart, reboot, enable, disable, and calibrate. And this is our first iteration of the web UI. We hope to add more functionality into this and to make it comparable to the ThinManager Admin Console in Windows. But this is just our first whack at it. Other features that we need to talk about today. Let me get back to my presentation here. Simplified deployment. We now have single sign-on for our ThinManager API, and we have simplified API endpoints. So single sign-on for the API I can't demonstrate because I have not implemented OpenID Connect or IDC, but I do have the simplified endpoints. I can show you what the new API looks like. So if I go to my terminal here, I'm going to go to the REST API. And this is what the new API looks like. And you'll notice if you scroll down and compare it to an older version of the API, that the list this year, this version of ThinManager, is shorter than it was before. And that's because we got rid of the sections components of the API. So with the new API, you do not have to pull the entire object out as JSON and edit only the few parameters that you really want to configure and then write it back. You can basically write only the parameters you want to edit, and you don't have to pull the entire object to do that. You can just push the little puzzle pieces of the components that you want to edit back to the ThinManager server. And that's why the API is simpler. Maybe something that I will do here is I'll show you what the old API looked like. So I'll pull that up. Well, something that you might not have known is that you can actually go to Google and you can type in ThinManager API documentation. And this is the URL for that. And we actually post our API. So this is the new guy. And then if you look at the old guy, let's go to 13.1. And you'll notice that there's extra sections. And these were subsets of the groups above them because remember we had to pull the entire object from ThinManager, edit it, and then push all the properties of that object back. So the sections helped us to accomplish editing kind of parts of it. And what we did is we just said, you know what, let's treat the whole object as an object, but if we want to, we can just pull part of the terminal configuration, see how the JSON and the parameters I can configure for just one terminal. I don't have to pull this whole thing now. I can just pull part of it and push back what I need. And that's the whole idea. So I could, if if I wanted to just edit the terminal options like this and push it back, it makes it more efficient and better for the program, the programmer, I should say. Okay, let's go back to our presentation here. We now have internal ThinManager event triggers and scheduled terminal messages. Finally, we can preload containers using HTTPS. Internal ThinManager event triggers are a new event type, and all that means is that now we can trigger something on one terminal. We can trigger something on another terminal based on what's happened on the terminal that I'm currently logged into, or to the terminal that I log off of. I can also say that I want to schedule a message to be sent to a terminal periodically. And then the preloading of containers over HTTPS is simply something in the back end that makes our container experience even better. Loads faster with less of the pack overhead that we see at TFTP. In my demo environment, I'd like to show you a little bit of this. So TCO1, I'm going to shadow this guy. See everything's just kind of chugging along. I'm going to go to my schedule right here. We're going to set the schedule. I'm going to put a message on the screen. I'm going to do it every minute. So I'm doing this a little bit out of order of what I presented the slides, but the reason is because I want it to pop up while we're doing something else. So I'm going to put this in the oven bake, and then we'll see it happen. So please, in all caps, please take out the trash. Okay, we're going to do that every 10 seconds, and this in milliseconds. I'm going to say, yes, sir. Okay, so that's the button, by the way. So the button's going to say, yes, sir. You're going to have to click that. We're going to click OK here. Click OK, finish. Restart the terminal. Bada bing, bada boom. We'll be back. Now, in our events, I'm going to show the new internal event. And you can see this is a new event type. And these are the 4 different triggers, either location logging in or logging off, or user logging in and logging off can trigger something to happen. Now, this is pretty typical that when a location changes or a user changes, the content changes. We've been able to do that for many years, many moons. But what is different this time is that we can affect something on another terminal based on what I'm doing on the current terminal. So you can see that every time I log in and it's Nick, right? It's looking for the username Nick. It's going to add a thin client to another terminal, and this thin client happens to be a camera. And then whenever I log off, it removes that. So it's the opposite. It's the complementary event. And look, here's the message. Please take out the trash. Yes, sir. So at this terminal right here, I'm going to log in, and I'm going to see affect this terminal by adding a display client. So let's do that. Control M, log in, and say Nick, put in my super secret PIN, and I'm logged in. And so you could see Nick right here, and on this guy, I'm just going to go over here and shadow it. Okay, we just had to wait a second here, but you can see that it popped up. And so this is me. Hi. So let's say maybe a use case that we could have for this is whenever somebody logs in, I want eyes on that area to see what's going on. I could even send a shadow if I wanted to of the terminal that the person logs into to some control center or some supervisor's thin client, so that way they can see what's going on whenever that person logs in or whenever a person enters or leaves the location, such as a robot. So this is a great use case. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to go back to my thin client. I'm going to log out. So Control M again, log off. You can also right click and log off a user here within the admin console. Yeah, I'll take out the trash, I promise. And if I go back to this guy, camera has been removed. So that's just to show internal events and kind of the use case that you could have for that. Finally, under reducing security risk, we now support OIDC OIDC authentication. That's OpenID Connect. And that is required for the single sign-on for the API. And so the API supports it both on the web page and through the scripting that you may use. So that's what OIDC authentication is for. So if you deploy that in your environment, that's something you can use. I did not, so I can't show it, but it's something that you can totally try out and use. Maximum user session time, and we also disable the sharing of the VNC clipboard. And finally, we also support this new syslog data format, RFC 5424. So let me show you those 4 things. Go back to my demo environment. So the OIDC support is set up in this ThinManager server. And if you go and you click a little bit, you'll be able to see the new configuration page for that. So OIDC is all right here. So you can put the authority, the discovery, and the client ID all right here. Maximum user session timeout is located in the user configuration. So basically it says that if a user is logged in, they can only have so much time before we log them out. So usually it was in activity. Now we can do it based off of just time in general. So the default 0 to allow the user to have as much time as they want, or we can limit it to so many minutes. It was just easier to do that than through remote desktops. That's why we added that feature to ThinManager. If we go to our Thin client, we can demonstrate the disabling the VNC clipboard, which basically means that within the shadow, if I don't want to pass keystrokes to something like, let's say, this Studio 5000, so we're going to have it for our Studio 5000, which is our optics instance. And we can go to the remote view and we can check to share the clipboard or uncheck to not share the clipboard. So that's something that is definitely important to do. I think it's, so if you do copy paste, you can't copy and paste between the shadow. And then finally the syslog format. So if we go back to our ThinManager server, I'm not sure if this is a configuration, but we'll double check here. Yes, it is. So you can check the box to log with the new format right here, RFC 5424. Otherwise, the syslog configuration is the same as it has been since we released it. Thank you for joining me today as I presented the new features of ThinManager version 14.